In this video, I'm going to share with you why you should be having a monthly cash meeting in your business. Now you might be going, well, I'm already having a finance meeting every month. Why wouldn't I just incorporate cash in the finance meeting? There's a couple of reasons, firstly, why I like to have them different. The first thing is, in a finance meeting, you can go into a lot of personal detail around your finances of your business and also for yourself as a result of that. And there's certain areas that you might not want to expose team members that are going to be part of the cash meeting to that finance meeting, number one. Number two is I think it's really important to get buy-in from multiple team members around improving cash, because team members quite often can be very good at coming up with ideas to spend money because it's not their money. But how do we get accountability around the money within the business and get them to treat the money of the business like it was their very own money in their wallet or in their bank account? So the cash meeting is purely designed to how to improve the cash flow, so have more cash flowing through the business, but also have more cash available to us. And the sole focus of that meeting is cash. It's not profit, it's not strategy, it's purely on cash. And what you'll see is there's a number of people within your business that are going to influence the cash position of it. Who needs to be at the cash meeting? Now, I'm sure people will be falling over themselves to be a part of the cash meeting, but there's some integral people that need to be there. Firstly, you as the owner of the business must be there, because ultimately it's your cash, it's your resource, it's your risk. So that's number one. You need to have your key finance people within the business. We know some places where they have one person coming there. We know other places where they have 3 people going to the cash meeting. You'll know based on what's going to be held accountable and the action items that need to be completed of how many people actually need to be in that session. So finance team. You also need your sales team. You need your sales team, or at least representatives of your sales team, in that meeting as well. The fourth lot of people will be your purchasing people, your warehouse, your stock managers. Now they might all be the same person, or there might be multiple people involved, but you need people who are involved in purchasing and buying decisions within your business. So quick recap, you need yourself as the business owner, you need your finance team or finance team members, you need sales team or sales team members there, and you need purchasing and operations people there as well. So you can see it's not a small meeting, and straight away the reasons why you don't want this as part of your finance meeting because of the sensitive nature of your finance meeting, whereas in cash meeting we're looking into the detail of purely how to improve cash. So you've set your first calendar appointment for your monthly cash flow meeting. Then it goes, well, okay, what are we going to do there? What are we trying to achieve in this hour or so that we're going to be spending together? There's 7 areas of influence to improve cash within your business. And as we go through each of these areas of influence, you'll understand why we had different people from different departments of the business coming into this meeting. So first influence of cash is selling more. So if everything stayed the same and we sold more, there is a very high likelihood that we will generate more cash as a result of that. There's a few exceptions as to why that wouldn't be the case. I'm not going to go into that for this video, but number one is selling more. Number two, on a similar theme, is increasing gross profit. So gross profit, revenue minus our direct costs. So if I'm selling a camera, like I'm looking at the moment and talking to you through right now, the cost or the direct cost is the camera itself and the freight to get it into the shop's possession. They're the direct costs, and the revenue is the price that they sell it for. The difference between those numbers is the gross profit. So how do we improve our gross profit? The third element is reducing expenses. And this is probably where your mind goes to automatically in terms of having more cash, is just having less money go out the door. It might not be the best area to focus because it's got a finite amount of improvement, but expense reduction is another area of cash improvement within your business. The fourth element is on a similar theme, and that is buying better. So expense reduction is simply removing an expense from your business, but improving our buying is buying the exact same element at a better price. So supplier A, we would get this for $10, but supplier B, I'd get it for $11. I need to make sure I can get it from supplier A as often as possible. So buying better of that same product. The next element is getting our debtors, i.e. our customers that have bought from us through credit, as in they've taken the product, they've taken the service and committed to paying us at some point in the future. How do we get them to pay quicker and get the cash coming in sooner? Increasing creditors is another way to improve your cash position. Now, I'm not saying stretch out your creditors. I'm not saying delay paying them anything ethically or immoral that I wouldn't recommend like that, because I think it's really important you look after your suppliers. But what I'm referring to increasing your creditors is rather than paying cash on delivery or paying immediately for a product or service, is looking to use suppliers who will give you credit and will give you 30, 45, maybe even 60-day terms to pay for that account. Because all of a sudden, you're holding cash within your business that much longer and also using other people's resources to help you grow, which is really smart business. The last element is reducing stock. So if you want to increase your cash position, you need to reduce your stock position. For every dollar your stock goes up, your cash position will go down by the exact same amount. So it's making sure you optimize the cash that you have available to you by also making sure that you're purchasing and carrying stock as efficiently as you possibly can. So your 7 areas of influence: sell more, improve your gross profit, cut your expenses, buy better, get your debtors to pay you quicker, increase your creditors without stretching them out, and then reducing your stock on hand. Now we want the rubber to hit the road. We want to start executing within these cash flow meetings and with these cash meetings, the strategies that we've spoken about with the areas of influence. And it's quite simple. You get the different areas to speak about each of the respective departments. So for example, improving debtors, then you're going to have the collections team talking about that. You're also going to have the sales team talking about that because they influence how quickly debtors pay us. From a stock perspective, that's going to be sales, it's going to be procurement, because the sales want to have the stock there to sell, but the procurement people are going to make sure that we purchase enough and also the buying decisions are correct. So you can see quite quickly, it's not just one area or one department accountable for a single area. It's actually a collaborative approach where you get all the different departments of the business going, how can we improve each of these 7 elements? So you might think, oh, the sales improving, that is purely the sales team. It could potentially be a strategy that helps the accounts team. It could be the procurement team. It could be the warehousing team that also help the sales and come up with those strategies. So we have the round table. Make sure you keep this meeting to no more than an hour. You want to make sure that this is sharp, efficient. And then lastly, what are the action items and what are the accountabilities? So at the start of the next session, where you start is revisiting everyone's accountabilities and what their action items were going to be from the last meeting. And all of a sudden, you can start to focus on what your cash flow is going to look like in the coming months by implementing these strategies on an ongoing basis. The final element of the meeting, so you've spoken about what action items needed to be completed from the last month's meeting and holding people accountable. You have the round table around what you see as analysis and areas you can improve upon and discussion across each of these 7 areas. But then you need some scorecard. It's one thing having a conversation around, we think we're going to improve in this area, but we're not sure if we are. And also, it's not necessarily cash position itself is the sole metric for improvement, because one area might be improving significantly and another area might be dropping the ball. So the final cash position itself is a collective of all these different elements. So let's look at the different breakdowns. Improving sales, quite straightforward. How much did we sell this month? And is that heading upwards? Is it plateauing? Is it trending downwards? Number 2, gross profit. We would look at gross profit dollars and also gross profit percentage. So when we're talking dollars, we're talking quantity. When we're talking percentages, we're talking quality. The third element is looking at reducing expenses. And what we would do there is looking at our overhead expenses as a percentage of revenue. So previously it might be 20%, now it might be 19.7%. What is that percentage of improvement in our overheads and also the dollar value of that as well? With buying better, so the fourth element, that will come through in your GP. So there isn't necessarily a straightforward KPI that you can use to understand if you're doing better, but I can offer a solution for that. And that is looking at like for like purchases over a period of time. So if you have an exact same product or an identical substitute and going, I bought this today for $100 and previously I bought that for $110, bring that information forward, look for that, seek that out and go, how much did we pay for this item previously versus how much do we pay it now? Then the last 3 are quite straightforward. Improving how quickly we get paid by our debtors, or days debtors, days creditors, so how many days are we paying our creditors, and we don't want this going out too far into the future, but days creditors, is that reducing, is it increasing, or is it stabilizing, depending on what we want to achieve on that front? Because an important point to note is that you might be better off reducing your creditor days, pay your creditors sooner, but get a better price because you're going to get more gross profit as a result of that. And then lastly, it's your stock days. How long does it take from when you receive the stock to when you sell it? And again, that's a financial calculation that we'll have up on screen for you right now. So they're the 7 factors to look at, but accountability, action items, have a KPI, have a benchmark, and working as a team to improve the cash within your business. What you'll find is that you might potentially find the cash meeting more powerful than your finance meeting simply because you have more members of your team involved in it, but they're also rowing in the direction that's going to ultimately get your business better financials as well. All those 7 elements are going to help your profitability, your cash, and ultimately your equity as a business owner.